Hello everyone. Welcome to Confessions Jury, where people put themselves on the spot, waiting for your judgment. Sit comfortably and listen carefully, as you're about to hear today's cases. You hold the hammer and you apply the law. Let us have your verdict down in the comments section. As always, don't forget to subscribe and like the video. Let's head on to our first case. Case 1. Am I the bad person for refusing to reconcile with my husband after he tried to sabotage my job offer? I've been married to my husband, 35M, for 7 years. We've had ups and downs, but I always thought we had each other's backs. Recently, I, 33F, was offered an amazing job in another city, something I've been working toward for years. It's a significant pay increase, and while it would require a move, the company offered relocation assistance and a flexible schedule. It felt like a dream come true. When I shared the news with my husband, he was less than thrilled. He said moving would be disruptive to his routine and claimed I was being selfish for considering a job that wasn't family-oriented. He works remotely and has no real ties to our current location, so I didn't think it would be an issue. I reassured him this move would benefit both of us, especially financially, and even suggested we could find him a hobby or local club to get involved in once we settled. A week before my start date, my new boss emailed me, confused about why I hadn't submitted some key onboarding documents. I was shocked because I knew I had emailed them the day I received them. After digging into my sent folder, I discovered that someone had deleted the email and emptied my trash folder. That someone was my husband. When I confronted him, he admitted to it, but claimed he was doing it for us, saying he was afraid the move would ruin our marriage. He thought if the documents were never submitted, I'd give up on the job and stay. I was livid. This wasn't a small misstep. He actively tried to sabotage my career. I ended up resending the documents and explained the situation to my boss, who, thankfully, was understanding. Now, I've moved to the new city alone. My husband has been begging me to come back and says he only did it because he loves me. But to me, love doesn't involve undermining your partner's goals. He's called me cold for not giving him another chance, and even his family has reached out, saying I'm throwing away our marriage over a mistake. I feel betrayed and unsure if I'm overreacting. Am I the bad person for refusing to reconcile after what he did? What do you guys think? Lay down your ruling in the comments section and let's move on to our next story. Case 2. Am I the bad person for saying I'll always take my sister's side over my stepsister's when mom told me again that I need to pick a side at times? My mom and her husband Johnny have tried to create a blended family, but we're not a family and we're not blended in any kind of way. There's me, 16, and my sister, 13, and my stepsister, 13, and then Mom and Johnny. 10 years ago we lost our dad, and 7 years ago Johnny and his ex got divorced after she left him and my stepsister 9 years ago. My stepsister hasn't seen or heard from her mom since she left. I heard Johnny say before that his ex didn't even show up to most of the divorce hearings. Anyway, my mom and Johnny met through parents' conferences at my sister and stepsister's school. The two of them knew each other and avoided each other because they didn't like each other. My mom and Johnny had no idea until they'd been dating for 8 months and introduced us all. My sister and stepsister refused to talk that whole first meeting. That was 5 years ago, and each time while my mom and Johnny were dating the same thing happened, but they decided to get married anyway and they brought us to family therapy. The girls said they wouldn't be sisters with each other and they wouldn't be friends either. We went for over a year with some of it happening over Zoom because of the pandemic. Family therapy stopped for a while and then my mom found another therapist for us. After 5 months of going, my stepsister admitted she'd like an older brother and would like for us to be closer, but she still wanted nothing to do with my sister, and my sister felt the same. My mom encouraged me to spend less time with my sister and focus on my stepsister more. She was always in my ear telling me I could make such a huge difference in her life and how every little girl deserved an older sibling who looked out for them and loved them. Stuff with my sister and stepsister got worse. They had this really big fight the other week, and my mom said to me at the time that I need to pick a side in it because doing so will help the other understand how wrong they are. She also said it's about loyalty, etc. I ignored her, but she said it twice more before she brought it up for the last time the other night, and I told her I side with my sister. She was like, "What do you mean?" And she said that wasn't what I was supposed to say. I told her she told me to pick a side, and I will always take my sister's side because I love her. She said it sounds an awful lot like I don't love my stepsister, and I said that should come as no surprise. She told me I shouldn't pick my sister just because she's blood related, and I told her the loyalty stuff she talked about. None is with my stepsister, and all of it is with my sister. Mom told Johnny, and the two of them are pissed I took this stance. Am I the bad person? What do you guys think of this one? Let us know in the comments section, and let's move on to our next story. Case 3. Am I the bad person for refusing to care for my aging mother after everything she put me through growing up? My mother, 60F, was never what you'd call nurturing. Growing up, I was the difficult child, at least, that's what she always said. I didn't fit the mold of what she wanted. While my siblings were praised for even the smallest achievements, I was constantly criticized, told I'd never measure up, and had my self-esteem torn down bit by bit. She'd make snide remarks about my appearance, my friends, even my interests, calling them silly or a waste of time. For years, I felt like I was in a competition I could never win. I moved out at 21, and that's when I finally started to heal. I went to therapy, worked on building a life I was proud of, and limited contact with her to family gatherings and polite phone calls. Despite everything, I tried to maintain some level of connection, hoping one day she'd acknowledge the damage she'd done. But it never came. Instead, whenever we spoke, she'd criticize my choices or give backhanded compliments about my lifestyle or career. She'd say things like, "It's nice you're doing well, even if you took the long way to get there." Now, my mother's health is declining, and she can't live alone. My siblings, each with young kids, are asking me to take her in. They insist that since I don't have children, I'm the logical choice and owe it to her for everything she sacrificed. But when I think about caring for her, all I remember is the pain she put me through. I remember her telling me I'd never amount to anything, that I was a burden. It's hard to feel compassion after years of emotional wounds she never apologized for, much less acknowledged. I told my siblings I'd help financially if she needs support, but won't be her primary caregiver. They're furious, saying I'm selfish, bitter, and abandoning her over grudges. They keep bringing up how she raised me, but it doesn't feel like I was ever truly raised, more like survived. Now, my mother's been calling, leaving tearful voicemails, saying she's lonely and doesn't understand why her only daughter won't step up. Part of me feels guilty, but I also feel like I'm finally standing up for myself. I don't know if I'm being cruel or if this is me setting long overdue boundaries. Am I the bad person for refusing to care for her? Can't wrap my head around that story. What do you think? Who is in the wrong there? Let us know down in the comments section, and let's move on to our last case. Case 4. Am I the bad person for not covering my friend's birthday bill at a fancy restaurant? One of my close friends, Sarah, recently celebrated her birthday. She sent out an invite to a group of us, saying she wanted to have dinner at her favorite restaurant to celebrate. I was excited because Sarah and I have been friends for years, and I always try to make her birthdays special. When we arrived, it turned out the favorite restaurant was an upscale place I'd never been to before. The menu was shockingly expensive, like $50 for a basic entree expensive. I'm currently on a tight budget, so I ordered the cheapest dish and water, thinking I'd just focus on enjoying the company. At the end of the night, Sarah announced, "Since it's my birthday, I'm assuming you all don't mind splitting my bill." I was taken aback because she hadn't mentioned this beforehand, and her bill was more than $150. Everyone else awkwardly agreed, but I quietly told her I couldn't afford to chip in and that I hadn't planned for this expense. Sarah was visibly upset and said I was ruining her birthday by being stingy. Some of our friends sided with her, saying it's customary to treat the birthday person. I left feeling humiliated and wondering if I was in the wrong. Am I the bad person? You've sat down, you've listened. Now, it's time to state your ruling. What is it gonna be? Let us have it down in the comments section down below. Thank you for watching. Please like this video if you enjoyed it and subscribe for more cases like these. In life, we may run, but we can never hide from true justice. Stay safe, everyone.